Last time on Square Roots, Liara works out her mommy issues on Noveria, and Shepard hacks into all the corporate and government secrets. The secrets is bugs!
Hey everyone, and welcome to a special morning recording session of Square Roots. I am Jim Banks, joined by Matthew Van Zant.
We're here, it's morning time, get used to it.
John, what's a good name for John? John Sovereign Brandon.
Hello, Jim. I am the Sovereign. Our songs are better.
And Vanessa.
Good morning. Conditions are mostly clear along the 1 and the 405. Construction continues on the 90 as you approach Marina del Rey. Weather is 47 degrees in Santa Monica. Highs today of 62, then dropping back down to 47 in the evening. This is your traffic and weather every 5 minutes. Tune in to Square Roots. 5's on the 5. Traffic and weather report. Back to Jim for the level up. Jim?
Welcome to our new segment, Where in the World is Vanessa?
It's an old segment. She's in California.
Yeah, obviously.
You know what? I don't think I said it in the opening. We are the classic RPG podcast. Does that say enough about our show? Do we need to explain that we play classic RPG games?
Moving on.
We're like a game club where we play a classic RPG one chunk at a time. And
one chunkarino.
This time we're playing Mass Effect, and this is episode 4. So you might want to go back to episode 1 unless you're really into getting it Virmire.
Which they probably are, because Virmire is interesting, good, nice planet, good game. Good job, Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's like the best mission of the entire game.
You think?
I think it is.
Yes, I agree. I have that written down multiple times in my notes. This is the best mission of the game.
I think I prefer Noveria, but I guess we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because John likes to take down corporations.
Mm-hmm.
I like to feel like missions are essential, and I feel like if you took Noveria out of the game, it would still be the same game.
That's true. I won't disagree with you there.
Anyways, yeah, we'll get into that, but first, let's talk about how we've leveled up this past week.
Yeah.
John, I can tell by the look on your face you got something to say.
Got something to say.
No, that's me being sleepy.
Oh, okay, that's just you wanting to go back to bed.
That's not good.
Yeah, obviously, I do want to go back to bed. Well, I'm continuing to be sick because when I get sick in the wintertime, my body likes to level down and be sick for like a month and a half, which is always kind of annoying. But I did use something called Facebook Marketplace.
Ooh.
And I bought 2 things. One, I bought a Mario decorated USB Pro controller for the Switch, which was fairly cheap because it was $50 less than the wireless one, which seems like a big price difference. And I also got a game called Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Both off of the Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty good resource for gaming stuff. I've bought multiple older consoles and a ton of older games from Facebook Marketplace and probably spent a combined $50 on like 3 consoles and maybe 12 games for those consoles.
I do like... That's pretty good.
Yeah. I bought a PS2 that came in a duffel bag with like 11 games for like $30.
Did you get to keep the duffel bag?
I did. I mean, the games are garbage, but at least they were there.
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace is kind of weird because it sort of gives you like the first name and the item you're selling in the conversation with the person. So like it's all secretive, and I ended up buying Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from this Japanese guy who lives in like the hardest part of the city to get to. It took me like 45 minutes to drive there. And the reason he was selling it is because the cartridge version, he says, doesn't have a Japanese language track. I think it can. I think you have to download it to your Switch. But if you download it instead of buying the cartridge version, if you buy the download version, it sort of comes pre-installed.
Oh.
I think that's the difference. The game so far looks really beautiful. Like, I know that there's some issues with giant booby ladies. The boobies may be a little bit too big, but I haven't got there yet. But the voice acting is really cute. The world seems super like Miyazaki, kind of interesting and beautiful. And I'm kind of looking forward to it, except it does throw you like a million what do you call those, tutorials at you as you start. I'm like, let me just play the game for a little bit. I could figure this out. You don't have to stop it every 2 seconds for a tutorial.
What's the combat like? Is it MMOE or is it? I can't stand MMO combat, but I'm happy with turn-based JRPG combat. What kind of combat?
It's weird. Yeah, I would say it's more MMOE because you auto attack. And then you're waiting for timers on abilities.
Timers are just the living worst to me.
I will get back to you with more details. I also played more Breath of the Wild. That game is fun. Matthew, how did you level up?
I don't think I've done anything interesting at all. I played a bunch of games on my PS4 the other night and didn't particularly care for any of them. I'm playing the Telltale Batman series, because it was free on PSN.
Now that's where you hear the sounds of the Batman beating under your floorboards, and it's driving you slowly insane, right?
Yeah. I believe it goes, Batman. Batman. My parents. My parents. My parents. My parents. Yeah, I don't really like Telltale games, guys. I've tried so many times to get into these, and people love them so much. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. I just finished the first episode before we started recording of Batman Telltale. And much like every other Telltale game I played, I was like, yep.
I think the first season of Walking Dead was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was really good. That's the only one that I've really gotten into that's like held my attention.
I've started that one
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I've started Walking Dead like 3 times, and I can't get very far into it. I just don't like it. And I downloaded Borderlands too because of your recommendation, John, and I still just could not. I don't know. Guess they're just not for me. That's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. But yeah, I think Borderlands might be one of the best sci-fi stories in the past 5 years. I loved it.
Oh, I need to play that one. I have it. I just never picked it up.
Borderlands or Tales from the Borderlands?
Tales from the Borderlands, very specifically. I like the Borderlands series a lot, but Tales from the Borderlands is, I think, in some ways better than the games it came from.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Vanessa.
Yeah.
How did you level up?
I played Telltale Batman and I loved it. So there.
I don't believe that that's your real level up.
That's my real level up. I played Telltale Batman. I thought it was great. I loved the parts where you could play as Bruce Wayne. I thought it was a really interesting way to gamify that aspect of the Batman series that has never really been touched by anything else I've played. I like Telltale games. They are a nice interactive storybook. Don't make Vanessa work too hard or think too hard. And I wasn't looking for that this week.
You know what I'll do, Vanessa? Since you like it so much, I'm gonna get what I'm editing today. I'm gonna give it some time while I'm editing because it might be the perfect game. It might be a perfect editing game.
It could
kind of like
be.
Persona. Persona's a very good edit game.
Yeah, it was I liked it, and it's an origin-ish story. Like, you're gonna kind of deal with Batman encountering enemies for the first time, as many
Lots
of these
Harvey
games
Dent.
love to do. Yep, lots of Harvey Dent, and just think of it as a Batman alternative universe, and it will not make you angry that you're kind of going through all this again. And some of the
Aren't
choices
they
you
all
make
alternative universes at this point?
I don't know. I don't know what's canon or not. I don't really care. And
Nothing.
some of your choices really do make a serious difference in the life of both Batman, Bruce Wayne, and his rogues gallery. Maybe Harvey Dent will be okay? All right, that's the end of my level up. Get yourself a PlayStation Plus membership. You get game for free. Well, it's not free. It's like $60 a year. But so far for me, it's been worth it. Some months I don't play the games at all, but some months I play them all the time. I think it was Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which,
that's right.
As you know, we have played. There was an episode of some podcast about it, but that doesn't exist anymore, and we will not mention it.
When I downloaded Batman, I couldn't remember which was which, and I thought maybe it was like the remastered Human Revolution, the first one, and I was kind of excited to replay that. I was really stoked about it. And then the game started, and I was like, I installed it and everything, and it started, and I was like, wait, I remember this. Ah, crap. And I played it for like 2 minutes and was like, nah, this game's not good. And I just turned it off. I'm just done. So, yeah. Is everybody leveled up? Jim?
It's my turn.
Okay.
I ended up taking a good hard look at how I spend my time after PlayStation sent out their like yearly gaming stats.
Oh, yeah.
And they tell you like what you spent your time doing over the year on your PlayStation. My gaming came out to a solid 24 cumulative days of gaming. 1/6 of that being playing Kingdom Hearts. I spent a little over 4 solid days just playing Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, that's so sad.
It was a long time. I saw that and I was like, huh.
When did you play all that Kingdom Hearts? Like,
well, we played through 1 for the podcast.
Yes, we played through 1 for the podcast.
Like, I never get that completionist urge to, like, do stuff. I just, I don't like collecting stuff, but for some reason, Kingdom Hearts 2, I wanted to, level up all my drive forms and get all the little puzzle pieces, and so I did, and I still feel empty inside.
But didn't you say that your daughter liked watching you play that as well?
Yeah, and a couple times I've turned it on and just flown to the Lion King world, and she'll play the heck out of that.
Yeah, so that's not everything.
Yeah, but I mean, comparatively to the time I've spent on it, it's not good.
I never got that email from PlayStation. I'm really bummed about it.
Me neither.
I think John said you can go in and manually check it, right, John?
No, I found it in my old email, the one that I've had since '98.
Yeah,
that's where it was. So,
I'm using an old Hotmail address, and it's where my purchase emails go. Mm-hmm. But nothing in regards to this. So
I
that's
didn't get it either. Maybe we didn't play enough PlayStation.
No, weird. Mine came out like 2 or 3 days after the first person posted in our Facebook group about it.
What was your hour amount in the end, Jim?
576. Exactly 24 days.
Jesus.
Mine was 500.
Oh, wow.
500 days?
And I can't ever play Final Fantasy 12 again.
This year?
I played Final Fantasy 12 for 69 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
The perfect amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I leveled up, re-examining my choices for 2017. Now I think it's time for the quest log.
This is the part of the episode where we talk about the game, and that's it. We don't talk about anything other than the game. This is the part of the episode.
Now, Jim, we call this the Codex after the in-game Codex, which tells you all about every race. Have you opened the Codex this playthrough?
Let me think. I did, because I wanted to read about the Solarians.
Ooh.
Is it menu time, guys? Can we talk about this terrible menu system that I hate? And the terrible galaxy map that I hate? And the terrible UI in general? And how the buttons just don't make sense?
We can talk about that, but I do want to preface the episode a little bit in that this is going to be a little more self-contained than our previous episodes in that we are just talking about Virmire this week.
And side quests. Ooh. I thought we were doing side quests, too.
Yeah,
and some side questing, yes. But, like, I would say that Virmire it's a real kind of pivot point for the game narratively.
Would you say it's the first real mission of the game?
You know what? That's a callback to how we describe every boss fight as the first real boss fight. I would venture to say this game does not have a real boss fight.
Oh.
But we can talk about that.
I'd say we do get one of the first real boss. Well, no, I think Matriarch Benezia was the first real boss fight of the game.
I mean,
I don't know. I think Jim's right. This Saren fight, it's not even a fight. Like, you shoot him once and then that's the end of it. And then you guys talk
shoot him
more.
a lot.
Well, you're playing on Insanity.
Yeah, man. Don't come at me with your...
I'm playing on hardcore.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm playing it on very easy, and I have news for you guys. I still die sometimes.
Oh, boy.
But, like, we'll talk about this later, but, like, mechanically, the game does not change at all from shooting a Geth in the face to shooting a boss in the face.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, yeah, let's talk about Virmire now. We're told that Saren has a research base on a planet called Virmire, so that's where we gotta go.
Okay, wait a minute. Do you guys want to talk about this fucking shit menu system that I hate and it makes me want to bash my face into a wall?
Okay.
Does anybody feel the same about this terrible menu system that I hate?
Nah.
That makes me want to smash my face into a wall.
What do you hate about it?
All right. A, the squad and the stats thing, why is that two separate things? Like that, the whole menu, the map, the way you have to get to the map, the way the journal works, the way you have to go to the squad section and you have to go to the equipment section. Why is this not all tied together like in every other game I've ever played?
I don't mind leveling up and equipment being in separate screens. That part's fine.
None of it really fits together is the point. They've got 10 different menu systems, and they're all just kind of separate instead of having like one fluid system. And like, here's a good question that I've been meaning to ask. Guys, how do you access your items?
You have to go. Well, the big problem for me in the UI is there's no inventory. Mm-hmm. There's only equipment screen, and that's the way to go through. And when you're almost full of items because you forgot to go sell stuff to the guy in your ship before you do a mission, like for me in Virmire, you'll get that message that you have 136 items and you're almost full, and you have to keep converting stuff to Omnigel over and over and over again. And yeah.
You just described half of my playthrough for this week. Converting stuff to Omnigel over and over and over again.
What I do is for each weapon, I set a minimum stat. Although, really, once you've equipped everyone you have, you don't need items that the people in your party can't equip, so you can just throw it out. Unless you don't have a Turian in and you find some good Turian armor or something like that, then you might want to keep that. But otherwise, you can flush stuff. You'll get more. This game throws so many items at you. Even if you get rid of literally everything in your inventory, it's fine. The only problem is with those add-ons to armor and guns, they are hard to get to get rid of them, and they clog up real fast.
I could never figure out how to manually get rid of them. I would always have to find a vendor and sell them.
If you have to hit, like, go in exactly like you're going to equip it and then hit Y instead of A. And it'll convert it to Omnigel. You have to go to your upgrade
screens. Yeah, it's dumb.
It's a huge, it's a mess, and it does not make sense. Yeah. And then that brings me to part 2, which is the galaxy map and how it's the slowest thing on the planet ever. The galaxy map, for anybody that's curious, is, what would you guys call it? The overworld map? The fast travel map?
Sure.
My main issue with the galaxy map is that I cannot access my journal from it.
Yeah.
So if I forget where I need to go, I have to exit the galaxy map, open my journal, find out where I need to go, and then go back into the galaxy map. And that sucks.
My main issue with the galaxy map is that the B button completely removes you from the entire thing, the entire menu, despite the fact that in every other menu and every other video game in the history of the world, the B button is the button that backs you out one screen. So I spend a lot of time just redoing stuff in the galaxy map. And it has to load constantly, which is just like, why? Why does it need to load to show me the planets?
I really like some elements of the galaxy map, like traveling to planets and seeing how, like, they look pretty even for a 360 game. And I like reading the stories because they're well written.
I don't read the stories. That's just too much. But the map itself looks very nice with the orbit of the planets, and you travel from planet. I like that a lot, but just the way that it's designed to be navigated is hot garbage, and it wants you to load just to go like look at another map, which is pretty. Guys, when the game needs you to load one map from another map, you got a map problem.
My main problem in this game, and I think it's fixed in the next one, is it doesn't keep track of which planets you've been to and explored. Like, so you might be like, oh, have I done this system? Have I found all the goodies in the system? Because you can search planets and find like artifacts by scanning them, or find mineral deposits, or other things, or you can land on some planets and then go get some extra bonus items or find little tiny side missions. But it doesn't tell you till you land on the planet that you've already been there and done that stuff.
That reminds me of two questions I wanted to ask this episode, if I may.
Sure.
One, all of those things you collect, like, what are they? What are they for? What do they do? There seems to be quests involved. Do those have a payoff that's worth the time? I can't be the only one who wonders if it's worth spending 5 minutes to get to that debris on every planet I land on, or if I should just stop caring about it because it is a waste of time.
That's a completionist one. Like, so that is for someone who really wants to get 150 hours out of the game doing everything. Like, that's what it's there for. It's like finding the feathers in Assassin's Creed 2.
See, my thing is, my question isn't, do I have to do it? My question is always, is it worth doing?
I think that really depends on if you get satisfaction, because I don't know what the end game is. Like, it might have a cool thing at the end, but I don't think so. I did all the keepers when you scan the keepers in the Citadel, and you just get a ton of experience, and that's it. Like, there's no cutscene or anything.
Hey, speaking of experience, guys, what level is everyone?
I think I'm in the mid-30s, but I can't really remember. I can't remember the last time I looked at it.
50.
I think
I'm
30.
high as fuck. I'm high enough that when I level up now, I only get 1 point instead of 2.
Yeah, me too.
That sucks.
I maxed out shotguns because after maxing out assault rifles, realized that fuck assault rifles. Shotguns are fun. Okay, I did have a second question. And I have not heard Vanessa's voice in a while, so I'm going to ask Vanessa directly. Vanessa, what do you think of all of these planets that we have to visit? Because to me, it seems like every planet in the universe, according to Mass Effect, is just mountainy terrain in different colors.
I have an objection to the way you phrased that question. And my objection comes from this. You say have to visit. We don't have to visit those planets at all.
That's not true. There are lots of planets you have to visit.
Name one.
Virmire.
Okay, well, that is different. What you're talking about...
Novaria.
Yes.
The Citadel.
Okay.
There's a lot of planets you have to go to.
Yes, but that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about when you're flying around the galaxy and you find yourself a little extra planet and you land on it in your Mako and you drive around and they're all sort of the same planet reskinned.
Yes, you're right. Now, I am thinking more of the copious amounts of side quests that take you from one planet to the next planet to the next planet. For example, I did a side quest called the Geth Incursion, where I went to one of the systems, and it had 4 systems in it, and I had to go to each system, to one planet in each system, and destroy one Geth base on one planet. And then when I did them all, a 5th system opened up, and I had to go to one planet and destroy one Geth base there as well. So it's all side quests, but it's just like 5 planets in a row. It was so many planets.
I guess the question is, what do I think of them? It's not great. I don't like the Mako, and I don't like to drive it around, and I especially don't like to shoot things with its Mako gun. However, there are some fun little side quests that you can find on those planets, particularly the ones that you get the little message about, like, Shepherd, there's a maniac holed up with his cult. Please go talk him. So, that can be fun.
What about you two? Like, the thing that annoys me about it so much is, I have said before, I kind of like the Mako. I think I would probably like the Mako more if I didn't constantly have to drive over mountains and could just maybe like drive down a road.
To me, it makes me feel powerful to drive over a mountain.
My feelings on these little bonus explorable worlds is, in Mass Effect Andromeda, all these super boring side missions really bored me because you kind of felt like you had to do them, and they were on the same map as everything else. In this, they're on different worlds, even if they all functionally look pretty much the same. They're all in these super rocky mountain areas. I just feel it's a bit more novel going to a different planet every time, and it's a bit more fun and keeps my attention up, and I like that aspect of it. I think that it makes it feel more varied than having 5 planets where all the missions are on versus this one where you have 30 planets that all kind of look the same, but I don't know. I like going down, and then like when you get attacked by a Thresher Maw, it's pretty exciting. Like, I still think those boss fights are pretty fun. Because all you have to do is drive in circles around them and shoot rockets at them.
Yeah. The Thresher Maws, it was really disappointing. You don't get an achievement for killing one of those things? Come on.
No.
I killed one with a machine gun because I was like, at least I'll get an achievement out of this. And nope.
What did you kill?
The Thresher Maws.
Thresher Maw?
Which ones
They're
are
like
those?
the sandworms from
it's
Dune.
a worm. It's a big old
Or
worm.
from Beetlejuice.
Come up out of the
Oh, yeah.
ground and
You
it's
guys
like,
didn't kill those?
"Arr." Does it kill you?
I can kill it.
It can kill
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I can shoot the acid at you.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed that every few planets you would find some sort of like life form. Like the
Yeah,
bug
like those little
mushrooms.
beetle bugs.
Or
Yeah.
the horses with with an extra pair of arms.
They're
like
great.
human arms. So creepy.
How much of this is procedurally generated? Any? None?
That is a great question.
I'd bet none of it.
If somebody had to go through, you know what? If somebody went through and designed each of these planets individually, I can A, see why they were so samey, B, not understand why that person still has a job because they did a bad job, and C, would understand if they went insane because there's 100 of these and it's just mountains.
I bet there was a group of like 10 people and they all got assigned a world and it's like, okay, what do we have to work with? And it's a mountain, some sand, and more mountains. And it's like, okay, everybody just mix it up.
All right, guys, we're going to take this poorly controlled tank and we're going to just surround it with mountains so that you have to drive up a mountain to get where you're going in this tank.
And some of them, like, there's no path up these mountains. You just have to go really slowly straight up the mountain.
Yeah.
It's tedious.
I just kind of go like as the crow flies, like I beeline it to wherever I need to go. If there's mountains in the way, I'm going over those mountains.
It is fun to occasionally get over the edge of a mountain and realize that instead of it being like rocky terrain, it's just a sharp fall and to just go over the side. Like I will jump as far out as because there's no damage. So you just jump as far as possible and see what happens. And I have fallen out of the Mako and into space, basically freezing the machine and forcing me to restart it.
Is there anything else you want to air grievances about concerning UI or other design choices?
Oh boy, we're still just talking about that, aren't we? I'm sorry, guys.
What do you guys think it's like to ride in the Mako? It flip upside down a lot. Are you harnessed in there? Does it have its own little gravity simulator so you don't get bumped around? It doesn't seem like it would be fun.
That's my guess.
You know, I'm glad you asked that because I think about that a lot. It's like, man, these people are just bouncing all over that thing.
They don't complain.
In Andromeda, they definitely complain.
Yes, I remember that.
So maybe this one has better technology, or they just are. The captain tells them to shut up.
So, Virmire.
Yeah.
Virmire.
The objective here is to destroy Saren's research base, which is, one, super heavily fortified, and two, already kind of being sieged by a group of Solarians. So we can't get that close to the Solarian camp because they're kind of surrounded. So Joker has to drop us off in the Mako approximately 200 miles from the Solarian camp.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to take the Mako and figure out a way to get there.
It's a very beautiful drive.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And did you guys know that you can drive off of the edge of the ocean?
No.
Yes, I learned that. Much like on Novaria.
It will result in a critical mission failure.
Aw.
Even a single wheel over the side,
Yes.
and it is game fucking over.
There is a hard point of no return when driving off the edge of the map.
Poor Shepard.
You know, when Saren was choosing the location for his mystery science base, he was like, I like this place. You know, it's got temperate weather. It's got a really nice beachy view with some beautiful mountains.
Do you think he saw Rogue One first, and then he chose his location?
Did that? I don't remember. I remember everything being dark in that movie.
The whole ending's on a beach. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
The last mission. Anyway, this was the best mission in the game, though, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody else really enjoy this part? Because I really enjoyed this part.
Which part do you mean? Do you mean driving around the beaches on your Mako?
Yeah.
Blasting the Colossuses.
Yeah.
It was a very similar kind of planet to the penultimate level of KOTOR, where you're on that lovely beachy planet.
Very true.
I was thinking the same thing, that, hey, this is that KOTOR planet again. And you have some very similar inter-crew dynamics happening.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, this feels like the shift from Act 2 to Act 3, that the same place happened in KOTOR
Yes.
within the story.
Is that the...
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a logistics question about these planetary bases and a lot of the other places that you explore in the side missions.
Why are they all in mountains?
Do you think that people manually have to pour the concrete for these things, or do you think they just drop the buildings in wholesale from space? I bet it takes a long time to build these things. I don't know why, but I think about that a lot when I play video games.
I feel like they're because they all look so much the same by planet to planet. I think they must be a pre-manufactured home.
Yeah, prefab.
Yeah.
A manufactured home.
Would you like a double wide pre-manufactured science base? Because, really technology's advanced quite a bit, and you can have a lot of space, and it's very sturdy. It can last through storms. Even on planets like Virmire, you can really enjoy the amount of space and savings that these prefabricated science bases offer you.
Did you guys ever see the advertisement on YouTube? I think it's a fake, but of the guy that sells used prefab homes, sells used trailers. He's like,
No.
I don't care shit. He's
that's just in Florida.
Look, they're not in great shape, but I don't care. You buy them, we sell them. My wife's boyfriend broke my jaw. It's crazy.
That's definitely a Florida commercial.
No, it's not a commercial on television. It's I said YouTube, jackass.
You can localize your YouTube advertisements.
It's not an ad. All right, you know what?
Oh, it's not an ad.
It's a fake ad.
Oh.
I'm going to find out what it's called. But anyway,
Classism. That's what it's called.
I just wanted to say
Hashtag
I
classism.
really liked this. I really liked this beach assault. It felt different than anything else in the game. By now, I figured out the controls on the Mako well enough that I only had one unintentional off the side death.
One thing that I actually liked about it too,
it was pretty.
They kind of mixed up the enemy encounters a little bit in that they added the flying assault drones in this one.
Ugh.
So you have to be a lot better at aiming to shoot these things out of the sky. But there
Right.
is something really satisfying about pinpointing a rocket directly at a flying assault drone and watching it get blown to pieces.
There were some elements you remember how Pharos reminded me of bad Halo? This reminds me of good Halo. It seems like a Halo level. It's real fun to drive around. It's pretty. I liked using the turret as much as possible when you get to one of those gates where you just shoot them. I like shooting the rockets at ground troops because they just fly and burn, and it's really fun.
Using I found this all to be a lot easier. It's kind of shitty, but you basically you can just park, zoom in, and kill everything.
Yeah.
So
I find in mine, if you do that, there's so many rocket troops that if you aren't paying attention to when you have to dodge rockets, you'll die pretty fast. But I think that's a difficulty level thing.
Yeah. All right. So what happens, Jim? We assaulted the beach.
So the goal is to get
D-Day.
from where you land to the Solarian
Dunkirk.
camp. So you have to make your way through the beach and the water and stuff, and then make your way past a couple gatehouses where you have to run up some stairs and open some gates and disable some AA towers so that the Normandy can fly in and everyone can meet you at the Solarian camp. So that is like the first part of this mission, is just making your way to the Solarian camp.
What is even on this planet? Like, what are we doing here?
We're destroying Saren's research base.
Is Saren here?
Yes.
The premise was that they got a garbled transmission from the Solarians, so we're checking in on them. The Solarians were asking us to send a whole fleet, but all we heard was like, hey,
Just us.
help. And so they just sent one person.
And the
instead of a
Solarians are
fleet.
not impressed.
And I assume that we're trying to catch up to the Solarian camp so we can do some activities like craft making, maybe make a belt. We can put on a show. I'm very excited for that.
Can I do finger painting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We can also straight up murder Erdnott Rex.
Oh, no.
That doesn't sound like something Jim Banks would do, though.
I didn't get this.
It
I did not
wasn't.
even have this option.
What?
Oh, I guess maybe, yes, I did. Let's get to, yes, you're right. I did get this. I just didn't
Okay.
do it. I don't think I realized you could.
It says shoot him.
Oh, it does
So we
say
get
shoot
to
him, doesn't it?
We get to the Solarian camp, and we're immediately dressed down by the Solarian captain, who is one, a total jerk, and two, he's a total space racist too, and also he's really upset that you did not bring more reinforcements, because most of his men are at this point dead.
Hey, can I ask a question that I have been intending to ask on the show? Now that you just brought it up, Jim. Guys,
Please do.
if let's say that tomorrow aliens land and they tell us about an alien government that we can join and yada yada. I mean, not Mass Effect, but let's basically just same thing. Let's say that happened for real tomorrow. 2 years, 3 years, 10 years from now, are you a space racist?
I would hope not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Feel like humans first.
Oh.
Well, fuck you guys. Fuck that. I don't know about no alien cultures. I don't give a shit about that.
I mean,
America.
it depends on the aliens, right?
What if they're shitty aliens? What if they're all like mean Krogans that don't like us and are dicks all the time?
Oh, I like the Krogans. They're
Krogan.
cute. You've talked about your little briefing with the Solarian captain, right?
Yes, he's pretty upset, but he does kind of let it slip that we need to really get busy destroying this base because Saren is breeding a Krogan army.
Yeah.
And Rex is real interested in this because their species is almost dead, and the idea of breeding them has at this point is kind of laughable because of the genophage.
Now, back in 2007, I wasn't a member of any online group where I could talk about video games. I thought Rex was right and had a super good point here.
He does.
Yeah.
Because his race is dying. They were engineered. There was a virus created so that they could barely have babies, and their population would always reduce because they have a high breeding
Right, because after the
chance.
Asari gave them technology, they were like, oh no, our war is over. And now we have all of these, basically they introduced a non-resident species. Is that what it's called? No. What's it called when you like bring a house sparrow over from England and then you're like, oh shit, now there's house sparrows everywhere.
Invasive?
Yes, they
Invasive
see the
species,
Krogan
yeah.
as an invasive
Invasive.
species. So they did a little bit of genetic modification, so they only have like 1 in 1,000 of their children survive.
Okay. Multiple questions on this, but question one is, why did they do that? What's the background here? Were they at war?
They bred the Krogan for
They didn't
war.
breed them. They found them on a planet when they were having their Rachni war. And then they were like,
right.
hey, look at this primitive
Yeah.
species. What real good at fight. We will bring them into outer space so they can fight for
Raise
us.
them up. Yes. Yeah, there's another plot like that. It's the, what are they? The telepath octopuses are created beings who are considered like
Oh.
lesser
They are?
than. There's a whole
Really?
side quest about it on the Citadel. All right, we'll save
that's
that for
cool.
later.
Yeah, that
I've
sounds
had
awesome.
anything
I know
like that happen to me.
I'll save that for later. Yeah, why wouldn't you think that Rex is right here? Like, he's 100% he's in the right,
Well,
right?
because he's a house sparrow and he's going to overrun the galaxy with his brood.
Well, wait, why?
Ugh.
Just fuck that. You just, like, walk in and be
Yeah,
like,
we
no.
all are doing that.
No, I can still kill Saren in the process. Like, how does this stop me from killing Saren? Kill Saren and, hey, suddenly we've just got a bunch more Krogan than we used to. Cool, guys, go join the rest of your buds.
There's no option to say to Rex, you're right, we'll try to save the data and see if it's usable while blowing up the base. There's no way to do that.
That's the
You're
thing.
only saying, no, don't you see that he's just going to use you guys as slaves? There's no option of, well, we can try to save the cure if we find
Or
it.
just
That's the thing that really got me too, is that they were hacking terminals all day long everywhere. We can't do it and just send ourselves an email with the the cure. Like, what's going on?
Do we even need the cure? Like, once you have once there's confirmation that there's a cure for this, they're going to find a cure. Like, that's how science works. There's no question
just
in
take
my
one
mind.
of those Krogan dead bodies that were made
that's
with
a great
the cure and develop one?
My guess is a way they could have written this and not change the Krogan situation is be like, yeah, the cure is to make them Geth. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, that's why it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But they didn't even write that. That would have taken 2 minutes of like one line of dialogue, and Rex would be like, oh,
Or maybe the cure made them husks. We're still running into a lot of husks. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if it starts Gethifying them, it's not going to work.
Before, I know that everybody wants to talk about how they dealt with Rex here, right? So, quickly before we do that, because I think that's going to take a little while, have any of you heard of the series or the book Old Man's War?
No.
I'm fairly certain it came out after this game, so maybe it gets more from this than this gets from it. But there's a book by John Scalzi called Old Man's War that is a science fiction novel that came out in the last, decade or so. And it's excellent. It's about, it's a bit like Starship Troopers. It's about like a war in space. But they take senior citizens from Earth to go like fight in this war. And then once they get them out into space, they clone them. And so the whole thing is you get a second life as like a new young person, but you're like a space marine. All right. It's interesting because it's got a lot of various aliens and like a kind of a Citadel like, what is the Citadel called? Is it the Alliance? No, that's the human.
It's just Citadel species. I don't know. I don't think there's a word for it. Is there?
It's a government, isn't it? They have a council.
It's just the Citadel species. Yeah, and the council.
The council? That's about it.
That's
Council
interesting.
races?
You don't think that there's like a treaty or something?
Oh, there probably is a treaty, sure.
All right.
Yeah, but there's no name for it like the Federation. You're right.
I think I lost my train of thought on this. Old Man's War. Jim, you talked about liking weedy aliens. Read Old Man's War. All right, you guys want to talk about Rex?
Yeah. I'll go last.
Okay, I'll kick us off because there's a really funny thing that I noticed that it's not super important, but I just thought it was funny, is that after Rex storms off when you're talking to the Solarian captain, he just goes to a part of the beach by himself and shoots his shotgun into the water contemplatively, and it's really funny.
I assumed he was shooting fish. That was my guess.
I thought he was just like trying to blow off some steam, so he's just blasting the water. Like skipping stones, only for a Krogan.
Target practice, but something on the other side of the water. I've done something like this. Like, this is a great way to blow off steam. You go find like a river or a quarry, you can shoot into it, and then your bullets won't bounce. Throw some cans, throw the cans because you're drunk. You throw the cans out in the middle of it and you shoot them. Welcome
That's
to
littering.
America.
But yeah, so I went up to Rex, and he's really upset because he doesn't want to destroy the base, justifiably so. And I was doing the good guy thing because I gave up being a bad guy in the first 15 minutes of the game. And you tell him that even if you let Saren manufacture a bunch of Krogan, they're all going to be indoctrinated anyway, and they're going to be slaves, so it doesn't matter. And then he just kind of thinks about it and is like, hey, you're right. I mean, after like a short little Mexican standoff where you point your guns at each other, he just kind of gives up and be like, all right, I trust you. And then it's over.
Yep, that's what happened to me.
It's disappointing.
I wasn't disappointed. I was happy. We resolved it non-violently.
When I first played the game, though, I was doing that thing where I kept trying to skip the dialogue options because I didn't want to sit there and listen to them speak after I read it. And I accidentally chose the neutral option instead of the Paragon option. And Ashley walked up and straight up blasted him.
No.
Whoa.
She blasted Rex?
Yeah, she kills him, man. She sees you pointing your guns at each other, and she walks up behind Rex and just kills him.
She's terrible.
And she's like, I couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk him killing you. And I was like, what are you doing? And then Caden, like a fucking dunce, runs up and was like, did you just kill Rex?
Fuck.
Yeah.
You are terrible people, Jim Vanessa.
I didn't do it. Why are you
I
accusing
love
me?
the fact, though, that after she shoots him, he falls down, and then she puts 2 more bullets in him, and you can hear Rex go,
He wasn't even dead after. She could have just wounded him, and it would have been over.
I know.
Oh, I hate her.
She's the worst.
No, nobody killed Rex for me.
I've decided Bim Jenks does the opposite of what Jim does, because Bim Jenks is evil Jim. So Bim Jenks just shoots Rex in the face, and then Bim Jenks shoots Rex on the floor, and then Bim Jenks just keeps shooting Rex until he stops making grunty sounds. And I felt very sad, but I've played through Mass Effect 1 through 3 with Rex alive, and I was like, well, let's play through it again without Rex and see how it's different. And I'm okay with that, even if I felt very sad, because I love Rex and he makes the game fun. But this is a different playthrough, so I'm choosing different people to live. So this time, Rex, no Livy.
Bye.
It didn't feel good, though. The bad choice in this game always just feels so gross.
I had another option. I got to use the Intimidate option.
I could have.
And I did not shoot him. I yelled at him about Saren and told him to shut the fuck up, and he did. The end. We're still buds.
Yay. Yay.
I did, however, pick Caden to die. So up next, you get a moment where you have to pick whether you're going to send Ashley or Caden to lead a task force. Jim Banks.
So we speak to the Solarian captain, and he says that he needs one of your crew members in order to assist with the assault. So the plan is he's going to take the rest of his Solarian commandos in the front as a distraction for your team to slip in through the back.
You said he's going to take them in the front.
Yeah, and we need to go through the back
We're going to
door.
slip in the back door. Hey.
And so we can choose Caden or Ashley to accompany the Solarians. I chose Ashley because I hate her.
Me too.
And at this point, the Solarian gives a really funny, wonderful, rousing speech to his troops.
Yeah, what was the point of this? Am I supposed to care about this guy that I met 2 minutes ago?
Oh, I think it's kind of a joke, like that it's not Shepard giving the rousing speech for once, it's someone you don't know, making references to places you don't know, and I liked it.
Yeah, it's like people have lives, not just Shepard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
I think anything where they're not talking about me is dumb.
I sent Ashley in with the Solarians, and the goal for your team is to get in, deactivate the... I think there's more AA towers. Is that what's going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Deactivate the other AA towers, and then get in and find a way to destroy the base.
So you get in there, you're like, my name is Shepard, and I'm an AA tower blower-upper.
Oh.
Heyo!
So, how'd you guys do this? Did you guys choose Ashley or Caden?
I chose Caden because I don't care about Caden at all. I've spoken the least of anybody in this game to Caden, except for maybe Ashley. I don't care about them.
Actually,
So-
at this point, like, I mean, I guess in this instance, it doesn't matter who you choose.
Well, basically, I'm angry that Vanessa is so into Caden because, like, what's up with Caden? He's such a fucking, just like, ugh. He's just such like a, ugh.
He's a nice guy.
With his spiky hair and his muscles. I don't like Caden, so
He
Caden
can
die.
do magic.
Mm-hmm.
He can do
I
magic?
guess that's a good point.
He can do
the
magic.
I regret everything.
The only consequence to choosing Caden or Ashley is that you don't get to use them in your party.
Right.
Yeah, something I've never done.
Me neither. I don't care about those humans.
Yeah.
I want aliens in my party.
I want a telepathic octopus. I want Vivi the telepathic octopus.
Oh.
I always ended up having Ashley in my party, so I sent Kate in this time because my shepherd is a biotic anyways.
Oh.
Yeah.
So at this point, this is where the game, like, I think the game is, my favorite parts of this game is when you're just kind of running around and shooting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to do a lot of that here. There's a lot of Krogans, a ton of Geth as you make your way through these like catwalks in the back of the facility in order to get inside.
Mm-hmm.
What can we talk about loadouts? What kind of what are we doing these days? Pistol guys. I know John is mostly biotic.
I like to use my assault rifle.
Okay. Why?
Shoot real good, kill many Geths.
What about you, Jim? Do you also assault rifle it up?
Yep, I'm an assault rifle man.
I was doing that for a while, and then I switched to shotgun on a whim, and it's more fun. Things die one shot. One shot kills are fun. Particularly, I was in this mission, I realized, oh wait, I was looking through my inventory, and I realized, wait, all I'm fighting here are Geth, right? So I switched over to tungsten rounds, which are the plus 40% damage against Geth. So after that, I got blowed up Geth real good. Like, even the big ones, you can one-shot it with the shotgun. It's a lot of fun. But the reason I did that is because I always play these games as, like, the stealthy kind of sniper rifle, assault rifle person. And I decided in this game, I was like, I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be the action hero.
In your face.
I'm going to be the in-face action hero with my shotgun. All right.
I liked all the little things you could sabotage along the way to make life easier for the other team.
Yes.
Like, especially there's one thing where you can damage a satellite dish, and it's by damaging it just means shoot it once, and it just in the middle of a firefight started falling apart over the Krogan I was fighting. I love that.
And you hear over your radio the results of your action.
Yeah, well, that was very, very fun.
Yeah.
I went to the side one where you blow up the fuel tanks and there's these rocket drones attacking you. Mm-hmm. That is the rocket drones it will kill you in one shot. So that's a really difficult fight.
I missed that one and I regret it very much.
Because even the drones themselves are a checkoff item that you can help, because they will attack the other team if you do not attack them.
Oh.
And depending on your actions, you can either save or not some of the members of that team.
Well, I saved them all for a while, but then I did not.
Yeah, so we make our way into the facility, and eventually we run into, like, an Asari scientist.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't remember what her name is, but she is Saren's research assistant.
I want to say it's Rana Thanopoulos.
Something like that. I know that if you decide to let her go, she shows up in future Mass Effect games.
Oh.
Which one was this?
Right. This is like Saren's secretary, kind of.
I think she's a redhead of some sort.
No, she's an Asari.
All right.
Fairly certain. I'm fairly certain I shot her.
You can totally kill her.
I shot her too. And I felt it doesn't feel good shooting this unarmed lady.
I like how
even she did help.
Even if
people.
you do the good guy option.
Oh, fuck her. She was like, I was just following orders. And I was like, you're just dead, motherfucker.
Oh.
Even if you take the good guy option, you're still a real dick to her, because you have like 3 minutes to get out of here before I blow this whole place up, and she runs out of the room screaming. It's pretty funny.
I remember her name specifically because I was like, because Thanos is death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like, and she's got a Greek name for some reason, so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I feel like there's a lot of violence perpetrated against Asari women in this game. A lot of them. Like, I think half of you can shoot this person is unarmed Asari women, and I feel like it's a little gross.
Wow, I didn't think
women.
about that, but I think you're right, John.
Yeah,
I can think of at least two.
Technically, they're not women. Mm-hmm. They're monogendered species.
Oh.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. No, it is. But they do use female pronouns. That's why I call them women.
That's true.
That's true.
If they choose to identify as female, then
Well, just because we haven't
respect
met
that.
any that don't identify as male doesn't mean that they don't exist, John.
I didn't say that. I just mean the ones that we've met.
Yeah, John.
They're not all women, John.
John.
Sure.
Not all women,
I'm cool with
John. Hashtag not all women, John.
No! Wait. Back it up. Hold on. Mm-mm. No.
So, we let this sorry research scientist go, or we murder her, whatever you guys want to
Yeah,
do.
whatever we want to do.
And we take an elevator to Saren's, lab, Saren's research lab.
Ooh.
And
before you get there, you can find, if you go, instead of going in the front door and fighting all the super hard geth, there is a side entrance where you can go in through the maintenance tunnels and avoid all the fights.
What?
If you want to.
Is this where you find the Solarians? Or is that later?
Yeah, it's really close to where you find the Solarians. There's a side door before you get into the big facility where you can go in a back way, and I thought that was fun.
I didn't realize
neat.
that. I wish I had.
By the way, we should talk about the Solarians. There are a bunch of Solarians that have been captured that are being used for scientific indoctrination experiments. You can choose to free them or kill them. I freed all the ones that seemed like they had mostly been unindoctrinated, and then I shot that crazy one that was talking to himself in the cell.
Oh, wow.
I
Because
did not
he
free
was
any
obviously trying not to seem indoctrinated.
of them. See, I didn't shoot him, and instead he bashed his head against the wall until he was dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a couple
That's
of
what I
them
did
though.
too.
Like you can straight up kill one, or there's that one that kills himself.
Yeah,
Jim
there's
is
one dude
somehow-
who's pretty fine. He's just like, hey, what's up? It's me. I'm not indoctrinated. And he isn't.
Unlike in KOTOR, where Jim's waffling, unambiguous good-evil persona was hilarious, in this game it's actually kind of terrifying how he will save someone's life and then immediately shoot somebody else in the face.
Yeah.
He's the god of death.
Hey man, those indoctrinated people are bad news.
So what I did was, I was so tired of shooting people by this point that I let the Solarian who was in good spirit, he seemed okay, I let him go. But there's that one cell full of super indoctrinated guys that aren't even talking anymore. And I put this on our Facebook group, the Square Roots group for smart, cool, very attractive people, a video of Jim Banks just icing 4 Solarians.
I think
in
you
a
mean
row.
Bim Jenks.
Yeah, I think you mean
Sorry,
Bim Jenks.
Bim Jenks.
Unless Jim?
Yeah, Bim Jenks.
Jim, we've got you on camera. You can't get away this time. Knock, knock, knock. It's the police.
I did like the guy knocking himself out on the glass. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was neat.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum. Guys, are we ready to talk about the farmers or what?
What farmers?
What farmers?
Bum, 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 bum.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
What happens next, Jim?
We take the elevator to Saren's research lab where we find a couple things. The first is another beacon that downloads more information into Shepard's brain. And we find a really nice, helpful VI that tells us a lot about what our next objectives are, right?
I don't know that it was a VI or that it was helpful or that it was nice.
It was none of those things.
It was
Jim.
Farmer John.
Oh, yeah,
was
this
like,
is where we
"Hey."
get to talk to Sovereign.
And Sovereign is...
And we learn that Sovereign, who we have up to this point referred to as Saren's ship, is actually an actual Reaper.
What?
What's
The
a Reaper?
Sovereign's huge.
The Reapers are a race of cybernetic monsters who live in dark space, who perpetuate a cycle of death on all organic life throughout the galaxy.
What?
Whoa.
I
That
literally
is an
cannot
excellent
comprehend what you
definition,
just
Jim.
said. Like,
Thanks, John.
my brain cannot wrap itself around the words you said. Can you tell me again?
You know,
I
speaking
don't
of not
understand.
being able to wrap your brain around stuff, one thing that really, there's a real lame sci-fi narrative thing happening here where as you're interrogating Sovereign, you say, "Why are you doing this?" And he says, we are so advanced that you organics can't wrap your mind around our motivations. And it's like, you could just explain it and we can decide for ourselves.
Listen,
Yeah,
man.
they won't even try.
Like, hey, Shepard, I'm a Terminator that lives in space and I'm also kind of Cthulhu. Space Terminator Cthulhu. You got it? Yeah, I got it, man. It really bugs me that the plot of this game is Shepard being like, I can't understand these visions. And it's like, you didn't get that? Like, I personally at home did not have a hard time wrapping my head around this concept of Space Reaper Terminators.
Jim, I made a mistake, and I got a text message as I was looking at the second beacon downstairs in that lab. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at my phone, and when I look back, whatever happened was over. Was it the same montage of bugs and things?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay,
they just, like,
fine,
in the
then.
first beacon vision, it's really, like, really rapid cuts between all the stuff that's going on. And then in the second one, it's just, there's still quick cuts, but they linger a little longer on each little frame.
Somebody is really proud.
When this happened, I kind of felt that Protheans, maybe one of the reasons they didn't succeed is instead of sending an email or text message, when you get a message from them, it makes you levitate and then fills your brain with indecipherable images. And I feel like the technology's not great.
It's
maybe
not a
like
very
a little
efficient method of conveying information to your friends.
No.
See, the Reapers are incomprehensible, but they also like recordings. They don't get that. Like DVDs, videos,
for
telephone messages, audio messages. Hello, we're coming to kill you. So
for like a super advanced race of cybernetic god beings, they're really willing to speak to you in English and tell you everything about what they're doing except for why.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes on for a while. Like he does the villain monologue thing of telling you what his plan is, and I do think it's super cool that the ship is the bad guy and not Saren.
Cool.
I'd forgotten that twist. Actually, I was like, oh yeah, that's really neat.
I also really like the fact that he admits that their race built the mass relays that allows them to get it. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, basically, the idea is it's all intentional to get us up to this point. So the Reapers are just like farmers, right? They like tend us, the crops.
Oh, is that what you were getting at?
That must be why he wrote farmers all over.
Guys, do you know what a reaping is?
They do kind of that is one of the theories behind why the Reapers do it, is that because nobody can kind of comprehend the fact that maybe they raise organic life and then destroy it. Nobody can understand why, but they do hypothesize that maybe they need the organics for slave labor,
or maybe they just eat us. Basically, like that's
maybe
that's all it takes for me is like not eat, but like they consume us somehow. They raise us up and then they consume us,
just like we do with the chicken.
Just like we do with the chicken, and that's why they are farmers. Bum ba dum bum dum bum bum.
Oh,
we are farmers.
I thought you were just referencing something on TV or something.
It is.
That I
It's
just
a song.
hadn't
It's
seen.
an ad. We are farmers.
Oh,
Bum ba dum
okay.
bum bum bum.
Yeah, so we finally know what's going on with the Reapers. We know that Sovereign is a Reaper and that we have to stop him. And now it's time to blow up the facility.
And since Sovereign is kind of buggy, does that mean that they're all kind of buggy?
What do you mean,
a little
buggy?
bit.
So they are robot bug Cthulhus. Jim, you are a self-proclaimed fan of a Cthulhu. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about this?
They are. I'm always on board for the idea of like these Lovecraftian things that have the capability to destroy. I just like that in general. I wish they were a little scarier.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, is that this one just like flies around and shoots lasers at you and chit-chats with you instead of being like an unknowable.
I kind of, because
horror.
like I think it takes a lot of the scariness out. The fact that, yeah, like you said, they are just like utilizing current technology to just shooting lasers and stuff. If they were using magic, I think that would be cooler.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be magic. Just like, the old Marvel, any science that you can't understand is magic.
Marvel.
Yeah, I'm sure it's older than that. It's
Or
Yeah.
even like
It's
even like
way older than
technology
that.
that's so advanced.
But that's
it
where I
seems
hear it
like
all the time.
magic.
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I think it's a neat concept that is pretty poorly handled here. What do you, John and Vanessa? What do you think? Is this is kind of the big reveal, right? This is the big bad of the whole series.
I think that Arthur C. Clarke once said that any sufficiently advanced technology
God
is
damn it.
indistinguishable from magic, and Marvel just ripped that off.
Thank you for making me look and sound very stupid, Vanessa.
You're welcome.
I sort of see them as space ticks. They look like big robo space ticks.
Yeah.
I like that design. Even if they're not scary, I think it's cool. So, I like them. I don't mind the Reapers.
Yeah, a tick is very scary.
I think maybe the only problem I have, and this gets compounded as the Mass Effect series goes on, is the sci-fi tendency to invent cool worlds and show you all these really cool races and then kill it off. Like the way that the Matrix did. Be like, here's a cool world. Oh, well, watch it blow up. You got to enjoy it for about 45 minutes. So now that we've got this message from Sovereign, we can go arm some nukes.
Message from
we also
the
turned off
Reaper.
I think there's a button around that lets you turn off an AA tower here too.
Yes, and that's I think the whole thing is you have to get to the facility, turn off the AA stuff so that the Normandy can fly in with this nuke. Because I think that was something that the Solarian captain actually mentioned, is that instead of just flying the Normandy over and dropping the nuke and then flying away, you have to manually get it inside the facility in order for like the payload to be enough to blow. I don't remember
because
the
they
reasoning.
have very big gun, and that's actually what Shepard is doing. Shepard went in there to shut down the very big gun, so the Normandy can come with the bomb.
That's right. So
Yeah, I couldn't really
so that's
follow
our next thing
what
is,
was going on with this whole thing. I was just like, there's a bomb and somebody else is doing something and I have to pick one to live.
yeah, we have to get in and arm the bomb. And here's where there are actual consequences, because as you arm the bomb, I think you have to make your way through to maybe another part of the facility, but as you're doing that,
either Ashley
learn
or
that-
Caden is arming the bomb.
Yeah, so depending on who you chose to send with the Solarians, the other person is arming the bomb, and then the person you sent with the Solarians is about to be killed as they are pinned down by a bunch of Geth.
Ooh.
So you have to pick. You can either choose to help the person who's arming the bomb, or save the person who's being pinned down with the Solarians.
Right. Well, you go to help the pinned down person, and then bomb person calls you up, and they're like, they're Geth here now.
So you can send either one to the bomb or either one to the thing and then pick either one here. But it's just
that's
these
why the first choice
so
doesn't really matter, except for you just don't get to use that person in your party.
Oh. Something I never did. Okay, got it. So bye, Caden. It wasn't nice knowing you.
I don't want to gloss over this because this was a pretty big deal. At least it felt like it to me the first time I played it. It's like, this is one of your party members, and you aren't going to be able to save both. That is unusual for an RPG.
That's a good point.
I think that's one thing this game gets better than Mass Effect 2. Because in Mass Effect 2, you're presented a very similar scenario where it's like, this is a suicide mission and not everyone's coming back. But in Mass Effect 2, there is a way to save everybody, and that sucks.
Right.
Because
the lesson is you can't always save everybody.
Yeah. I think Mass Effect 2 would have been 100 times better if you had to let someone die the way that it does in Mass Effect 1.
We're just all doing the best we can.
Yeah.
I saved Caden. You're probably surprised, but that's what I did.
No. Oh. Have you two already confessed your love to each other at this point?
We've talked about it, I mean, there's been some heavily implied dialogue.
Heavily?
And, heavily. Things got herver. I think Caden at one point says to Shepard, "We'll sort this out between us one of these days. Or nights."
Now, Ashley and I have been sort of flirting on and off. She's telling me about how racist she is, and I'm like, oh yeah, all these opinions are amazing. Earth first. And so I figured, since I let Caden live in my last playthrough, I would choose Ashley, and maybe in return for saving her life and letting her live, I could put the moves on her because I'm evil. Mm-hmm. Now, please note, this is not acceptable behavior in real life. Even if you save someone's life, they do not owe you anything.
Yeah, it's a very, you have adopted a very...
I'm not saving somebody's life if they're not at least going to, like, give me $1 or $2.
Matt.
I need $1.
Matt.
Hey, man. Cops get paid. Firemen get paid. Soldiers get paid.
Moving on.
Let's talk about bystander law. Did you know that if you see someone in distress, you are not obligated to save them unless you yourself put them in that distress, or you have a special relationship with them, such as being their parent? However, if you do undertake to save them, you must do it with reasonable care.
What about Good Samaritan policies?
That's what I'm talking about.
In some states. But I thought in some states you were obligated to help in some way.
Oh, I don't know. Who cares? Moving on.
I think that varies from state to state.
In my state, you can shoot somebody if they look at you funny.
Mm-hmm. Stand your ground.
Mm-hmm.
Stand in my ground.
Castle doctrine.
Yeah, they call it the Howl's moving castle doctrine. Because you can stand your ground in your moving castle anytime you want.
Well, castle doctrine refers more to, like, if someone breaks into your house, you don't have a duty to retreat. You can shoot them. But in some states, you can shoot anybody anywhere if you feel threatened.
Oh, wow. That's bad.
Yeah, it's not great. Because people are dumb and they feel threatened by stupid things. Like, I saw a black man.
I mean, this isn't exactly like news. This is, the reason that we have the most gun deaths out of any country and all the other countries combined in the history of the world.
I feel like your statistics may not be 100% accurate
you don't know
there.
about that.
Plow, plow.
Canadian.
Plow, plow. Blah, blah, blah,
All right.
blah, 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 blah.
Let's go back to the mission. So, Jim, who did you save?
I chose to save Caden.
Oh.
One, because I think I was closer to him.
Wow, bunch of misogynists here, just letting the woman
geographically.
die.
Like emotionally?
And two, I've up to this point never interacted with Ashley at all, so I felt no attachment to her. How about you, Matthew?
Caden. I said,
yeah, he's Caden.
Died.
Oh.
We've all said we went 50-50.
I have no compunctions about not saving Caden. I have a really great rant that I wrote down that is nonsense.
Oh, let's hear it. Come on.
Do you want it?
Yeah, please
right.
read it. Please read it word for word.
Okay, this is going to be tough because listen, my kids are here. I can't talk about what I was, but it was not sober at midnight when I finished this game. This is what I wrote before I wrote bye Caden and fuck you, and then I wrote Saren sucks, S-U-X.
Matthew, could I ask that you deliver it in your fanciest voice?
What's my fanciest voice? What's a fancy voice?
Like your Fraser, if you're doing a Fraser.
Oh man, I don't.
Fraser.
Yeah, like you're a freighter crane.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, fads never die. They just get integrated into the norm. Game mechanics like open worlds eventually stop being fads and are just made a part of the norm. Other examples: God of War with the big-ass boss battles. Once they are perfectly integrated, they become the norm. I wrote that 4 times. You can look at today's fads as a predictor of the future in game design. Soon every game will be open world, but you won't notice.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Don't interrupt.
That's
This
it.
is beautiful. This is gold.
And then I wrote bye
That's it?
Caden and fuck you, and then I wrote Saren sucks.
That was beautiful.
That's the end of Matt's notes for the podcast.
The rest is just scribbles and like drool marks on the paper.
Audience members, if you would like to record yourself doing a dramatic reading of Matthew's notes there, please do, and then link it to our Facebook group at the Square Roots Group for Smart, Cool, Very Attractive People.
Hey, man.
A cool behind-the-scenes thing, Matthew, would be for you to take a picture of that page of your notes and put it on the Facebook group.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
All right, so we have chosen who we're going to save. We go to save that person, and we are beset upon by Saren himself.
Saren.
And one thing that I really liked about Saren is that he seems to be having kind of a crisis of confidence right now.
Robot.
Yeah.
In that,
I like that too.
He's really not sure whether he's doing the right thing or not. He's mostly acting out of fear because he knows how powerful the Reapers are. Mm-hmm. And he said everyone's going to be killed anyway. Like basically slavery is our best chance at survival.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which is, cowardly, but like it's hard not to kind of see what he means.
Mm-hmm. And there's a really good voice acting performance here because he sort of calms down and isn't yelling, and he's like, yeah, I really know that Sovereign has this mind control thing, but I think I would know if I'm indoctrinated, and I feel okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Yeah, he talks about how the more indoctrinated you become, the less sort of skilled or able to do what you would normally do you become. So he says he's safe because he's valuable. He has valuable skills and abilities. So he won't be indoctrinated.
So his whole thing is that he hopes that some of their, culture and world and species is will survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But you don't keep the wheat. You just make it all into bread. And the rest dies. And then you grow a new crop next year.
Well, you have to keep some to grow the next crop there.
That's true. Maybe he's hoping to be a seed. If you know what I mean.
Maybe.
Oh no.
Someone's got to be a breeder Turian.
Raw dog Turians.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we have to fight Saren, and it's to my point earlier, it's just the same as fighting anybody else except he's flying around on a little platform.
Yeah, this is not a great boss fight. He looks real dumb. He looks like Green Goblin from the Spider-Man movie, zooming around on his dumb floaty thing.
And he eventually just flies away. Mm-hmm. He decides that he's just sick of fighting you, and he flies away. And then you have to run away because the nuclear bomb explodes.
Yep.
Yeah. In my cutscene, I grab Ashley from next to the nuclear bomb and jump very masculinely and somehow get back on the ship, and we fly off.
Happy ending for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a little huddle, and we talk about what happened and our feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Liara wants to do another mind meld.
She wants to do another mind meld. And in my game, Caden has a real problem with Ashley being killed. He feels a ton of survivor's guilt, and he's pretty upset at the captain for her choices.
Mm-hmm. In my game, Ashley has the same issue. And for the whole game, I've been choosing the bottom right choice, which is the angry shepherd choice. But for when Ashley was talking to me, I was like, hey, Ash, you need to be okay with this. You need to not be suicidal. And for the first time, Shepard switches to his concerned voice, and it makes him sound schizophrenic because he spent the whole game like, no, you're going to go do this. You are going to obey my orders and shut up, or I'll put my gun in your face. And hey, Ashley, let's talk about this because I feel like you're trying to drive yourself to death. You're trying to kill yourself out there in the field, and I need my soldiers to look after themselves as much as everyone else.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a weird tone shift. And then I called the council, and they yelled at me, and the Turian said, well, I guess humans have an expression, leopard can't change its stripes. and then Bim Jank says, well, humans have another expression, go to hell.
What?
I love it.
The council still doesn't believe in the Reapers. They think that we're making it up. and they think that Saren was lying to try and distract us.
What a terrible council they are.
You do sound like a fucking crazy person who's been murdering their way across the galaxy chasing a guy.
I guess that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I sure have been.
I had a little conversation with Caden. He was feeling kind of awkward about being the survivor. He did have some sympathy. He's like, I hope I never have to make that choice, but you saved me because we're gonna bone, right? And then Shepard's like, I could never have left you behind. And he's like, I feel kind of bad that Ashley had to die because we're gonna bone. And I was like, well, what are you gonna do?
Right after this little phone call and our little group powwow, I step out of the chambers, and Ashley and Liara confront me, saying, look, it's obvious that we're having a problem here. We're both interested in you, and you're kind of leading us both on.
What?
You need to tell us right now, make a choice. Who do you choose? And because Ashley's like, yeah, I'm not choosing, and Liara's not choosing. It's you who's got to make a choice. And so my first option was, well, why do I have to choose? Why don't we both do something? And then Ashley's like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm like, yeah, but if you think about it, the three of us could. And Ashley's like, no. Look, I hope you two, or however many of you there are, go have fun. I'm going to go clean my gear. And she walks away. And then sad Liara says like, oh, well, I see that you've chosen me, and I hope that Ashley gets over this. And I just want someone to tell Liara, no, sweetie, no, that's not what happened. Bim Jenks was trying to have you both. Yeah. He didn't choose you. He got rejected from a triad. And that's the romance for this game.
That's very sad.
But I guess I'm in a relationship with Liara now.
Okay.
By default.
Oh, poor Liara.
Oh, I know. Well, I guess I'm her first boyfriend, and maybe she doesn't realize this is super unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, but there is great footage on our Facebook page of that whole exchange, if you want to see Bim Jenks in action.
Yes, it's pretty good.
Oh, Bim.
Hi, Jim.
Hey.
Shall we move on to side quests?
Can I go first? I go first? Yeah. I only remember one side quest, so I have to go first because I can't remember any other ones.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I did a side quest called Hey, There's a Cult. You arrive in some galaxy. I'm not going to tell you which one because I don't remember. Wait, I guess we're only in one galaxy. You arrive in a solar system and you get a phone call from your old pal, Admiral Hackett. And he's like, Shepard, there's a cult. And turns out this one particular dude has been rounding up biotics and has started a biotic cult. Interestingly...
What's his name? Father Pete?
His name is like Father that? Something. He himself is not a biotic. But yeah, isn't that interesting? Well, I think his name is Major Kyle.
Major Kyle.
Oh, it's Father Kyle. Yeah, Father Kyle.
Father Kyle. So Father Kyle is not a biotic, but he has a lot of compassion for the plight of the biotics, apparently. And he has found himself a nice little planet in the Hawking Eta cluster. And he has started a cult. So they want you to go and see if you can get him out of there. And they don't want to just raid the whole cult because they don't want a real Waco on their hands.
That's what they got, though, right?
Well, potentially. So I went down there and went to the complex and ringed the bell. And a voice was like, you can't come in. But then I talked about how I was just there to talk. Oh, they had sent some people before, and those people disappeared. And then I was like, well, what if I can come in, though? And they were like, okay. So they go to the other side of the complex, and Father Kyle will talk to you. So I headed on over there, and there are a whole bunch of biotics walking around, and they're like, Father Kyle told us that you're gonna come here to kill us. You're terrible. And
I have a question, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Did you bring Caden? Because these are all L2 biotics, and L2s are more powerful, but suffer physiological side effects from their implants.
Just like Caden does.
Yeah. Did you bring Caden?
I did bring Caden.
Does he say anything during this quest?
No, I was very surprised.
Oh,
I thought if I brought him, it might help me connect with these people, because he could be like, I'm an L2 too, and I feel your pain, or what the fuck ever. But no, he didn't. So, I just went in and I found Father Kyle, and I was like, what's up, Father Kyle? Your people here killed a whole bunch of Alliance soldiers, which isn't great. And if you don't come with me, probably they're all gonna get slaughtered. And then he's like, oh no, it's true.
Is Father Kyle Santa Claus from those Rudolph the Reindeer stop motion things?
Yeah, that's who he is. And
oh no, Rudolph, I might get slaughtered.
yeah, oh no. And
Santa, what's wrong?
Yeah. So it takes a lot of charming, but you can tell Kyle, you really can't help them if you stay here instead of turning yourself in, because you're a wanted man now. You are a straight up murderer, bad man, bad father. So he asks for an hour to get ready, which sounds a little suspicious, but I was like, yeah, sure. If you try to pull something, I'll just shoot you later. So then you leave, and then you go back to the Normandy, and you get a call from Hackett, and he's like, he turned himself in. Everything's okay. Bye. And that is the way I handled Father Kyle. Did any of you guys do it?
I did, and the only difference is I intimidated him into giving up. I didn't charm him. So I was like, you are going to give up, or everyone here will be dead because of you.
He's leaving. Jim, did you do this side quest?
I did, yes. And I charmed him.
Oh. That doesn't seem very evil at all.
Nope. John, what's your side quest, buddy?
My side quest is one called Bringing Down the Sky.
Oh.
This is one of the side quests that you can pay money to do.
What?
Because you have to buy it.
Oh, that's right.
It's a DLC.
Oh.
It's a DLC side quest.
Oh.
So this one takes place on asteroid X24, which has been brought into orbit of this planet so that they can create... Basically, what they're going to do is take this asteroid and then mine it into a starbase. Like a orbiting starbase. That's why they brought it next to the planet. But Batarians, who we haven't really encountered so far, have taken over this asteroid and are fitting the mining jets that they use to move this asteroid around to bash it into the planet and kill everybody. And so this is a big, long side quest taking place over a huge chunk of asteroid. And you have to disable the thrusters one by one before it hits the planet. There's one area where you have to navigate around these mines, and you can't do it on the ship or on the Mako, because if you try on the Mako, it'll just blow up. And so it's pretty nerve-wracking getting in without setting off the mines. And as you are doing this, a mysterious lady is calling you, giving you advice. And once you do the first thruster, you talk to her a little bit. Her name is Kate, and she's there with her brother, and she's being held hostage, but she's trying to give you hints while the Batarians are there. And so you start disabling them. You meet her boss, who's like, oh, you got to save everybody. And you get to the last one and disable that so that the place is no longer in danger. But the Batarian guy, Malak, says, hey, I know you're doing this. If you don't come talk to me now, I'm going to kill Kate. And he shoots her brother in front of her, which is very sad. There's nothing you can do about that. So you meet up with him. He's like, you shoot all his guards, and he says, either you let me go, or I will blow up these hostages, who includes Kate, And I'm like, well, I'm Bim Jank, so blow them up because you aren't leaving. And he does. He blows up the girl you've been trying to help, who's been helping you, and you kill the bad guy and shoot him in the face. And he gives you a lot of backstory about how Batarians aren't bad, but everyone thinks they're terrorists. And even the good options seem to call him a terrorist and say all Batarians are terrorists, which is insane. And you get some backstory about how the humans and Batarians were fighting, and now the humans pushed them out of the space the Batarians once occupied as they grew. And that's it. You don't save anyone except for the boss, really.
Oh.
Unless you're a good guy. If you're a good guy, you can save Kate and her friends. But I am not good. I am Bim Janks. Bim Janks is bad. Jim, tell me about your side quest.
So I'm going to pick a boring one, and it's the it's the derelict freighter.
Derelict?
What did Derek do?
I don't remember exactly where. It's the USV Cornucopia. And it's just kind of floating in space. When you board it, you discover that it has been overrun with Geth and husks. And this one is kind of tough because you have to kind of navigate a little maze of Geth and husks, and they're kind of all over the place. I actually got killed here. There's a lot of really aggressive husks and a lot of Geth. But eventually you make your way through and you grab some ship log data from the cockpit, and then the side quest is over.
Well, the ship log data in that one is interesting. Basically, the Solarian captain got indoctrinated, and the ship went out to far space to hang out with the Geth for a while and turn everyone to husks. And then, mysteriously, the ship came back to be like a little tempting nugget for someone to open up and then get indoctrinated themselves.
Yeah, it's like the what's that movie with Sam Neill where he cuts his eyeballs out?
Event Horizon.
Event Horizon, yeah.
Watership Down.
Where we're going, we don't need
Jurassic
any
Park?
eyes. Ah! I love that fucking movie.
But yeah, that's it. Matthew, what was your side quest?
I already talked about the Geth incursion one. That one had something to do with Tolly and getting information on the Geth. And also, so I had to go to 4 different systems with 4 bases and 4 planets and destroy the bases, blah, blah. I mentioned that earlier on the show. When I got to the very last one on the 5th secret system planet, I blew up this outpost. And first of all, I think that what I blew up was a transmitter transmitting a Saurian television to the Geth homeworld. I think they're
nice.
I think the impression I got was that they were studying us and that I fucked that up and kind of just slaughtered them. And, but we got a bunch of secret information on the Geth, and now Tolly has something she can take back to her people.
Oh, was this her loyalty mission, do you think?
No, because it was not her that asked me to do it, I don't think. I was confused. I don't know.
Okay.
But I did have one other one that you had asked about, which was, this one was it's actually a very short one, but it's vague. It's kind of interesting. On the Citadel, you can run across a Hanar. And these guys are like jellyfish looking or like octopus looking things. And I was reading about them a little bit. I guess that they're not telepathic. They communicate via light. So if you look at them, they're like reddish blobs and they light up. And I guess that there's some sort of mechanical translator that makes them sound so weird. I thought they were telepathic, and I still do. They're telepaths for sure. So anyway, you find one preaching in a park about the Enkindlers, which is his religion and he's obsessed with. And he explains to you, first of all, that the Enkindlers are the Protheans. And that his race was raised by the Protheans into consciousness, and there is a Turian cop there who's trying to get him out of there. And the side quest basically is just a moral question of which one are you going to do? Are you going to side with the cops, or are you going to side with the alien who's trying to preach in public, in a public space? Right. And I went with that option just because fuck the police. Evil Shepherd ain't helping out no cops.
Right.
But it was interesting. So the Hanar the impression I got is that the Hanar are really viewed as like subhuman or like subconscious maybe by the other races on the Citadel, because I guess that they're really obsessed with their religion. They're really religious.
Yeah.
And they're obsessed with the Protheans. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. It's not, that was kind of it, but
With that side quest, if you talk to the cop, you two can get on this like really gross space racist rant, and they start calling him like, this stupid jellyfish doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how to follow rules.
yeah, well, you have to talk to the cop. You have to talk to them both to complete the quest, basically.
Right.
But yeah.
And you can pay
Fuck that
off
cop.
the jellyfish's ticket.
Now I threatened that cop. I was like, I'm a fucking Spectre. You gotta go. And he was like, all right, man. All right. I'm out. Okay.
I threatened the Hanar to leave, and that got to work. But you can also buy the license. Basically, they can preach if he has a preaching license in special areas. So you can just give the 200 credits to the Hanar and then buy it for
That
him.
is
That's
that
the
is
other
the
neutral
easy way out. That is, you
Yeah.
did not have to face a moral quandary. You just kind of gave everybody what they wanted.
I like to hear the jellyfish preach. He's got some
Yeah.
interesting ideas.
I shut him down and yelled at him because I was a jerk. And once again, playing as a jerk, not super fun. I don't get enjoyment out of being mean to people.
Oh.
How about, before we finish this episode, we do a couple little corners?
Yeah.
Maybe John's bullshit minigame corner.
Nice.
And I talked about avoiding those proximity mines where you get a little sensor and the bar fills up, and if you get too close to one of them and the bar fills up, it blows you up and you're dead. Unfortunately, it's a non-linear progression, so basically when the bar's at 50%, if you let it go to 52, suddenly you blow up.
Oh.
It's not super great. And every other thing I've had to do in this game, I've done tons of side quests. It all involves doing the Simon press the button at the right time thing.
I am still
So-
really bad at that.
Oh boy.
I got better based on Vanessa's advice and have gotten worse. Like, is it the harder the encryption, the faster you have to be?
It does get faster the harder.
I am
it
not
is.
good at the faster.
But you can always just squirt your
And-
sweet gel all over it.
Yeah.
Are we done?
You have to. No, Vanessa has to rate a hunk.
It's time for Vanessa's Rate-A-Hunk. This week's hunk, Captain Kirehi.
What?
Ooh, the Solarian?
Who?
Yes.
The commando captain.
You remember Captain
On Virmire.
Kirehi? We met him on Virmire and then watched him give a rousing speech to his men. I don't want to get too speciesist with this, but we haven't really talked a lot about the Solarians and their features. So, like many Solarians, Captain Kirehi is tall and slender, with a tapered waist, and a chest that makes you go, what's going on with that? Is that his armor? Or does he actually have a bit of his chest that sticks out like a half circle? Nobody knows. He has wide black eyes, like a bug, lizard-like skin, and 2 little antennae on top of his head. On the minus side, he has no nose and a very weak chin indeed. However, Captain Kirehi seems to be an honorable military man. He cares about the fate of his troops and is dedicated to completing his mission. It is possible for him to complete his mission if you, in your shadow team, do all of the steps necessary to aid his team. My shepherd, however, did not. So he died nobly as the rocket drones shot him down.
Rocket drones, I think it's gonna be a long, long
Oh,
time.
gosh.
If you do save him, you can find him in the engineering section of your ship, and
What?
he'll be sympathetic
Oh.
to your loss, and he says that he will get off the Normandy at the next port, whatever it may be. If you don't
that's
save
cool.
him, his second in command is down there. And he's just like, yeah, Captain Crahy's dead. That kind of sucks.
I don't think they would be there if you did not. If you went and saved the person arming the nuke instead. I think there's no one there.
No, but
saved
I
the person
did save
arming
the
the
person.
nuke in there.
Yeah, he was there.
Oh, okay.
I guess they must have got on the Normandy before the Geth arrived or something. Nobody knows.
Huh.
Nobody
Okay.
knows how they did manage to get on there. The other thing that Captain Crahy has in the Minus catalog is he is kind of for the genocide of the Krogan. He talks...
Everyone kind of is.
Yeah. So that's not really a very alluring feature. However, he's a man of his time, and what can you do? Overall, I'll give Captain Crahy a 3 out of 5.
Do you think that the antennae are like flexible? Could you like go like to his antennae, or do you think they're firm?
John, I have spent a lot of time thinking about this. I think that they are very firm at the base, but if you work your way up, they become increasingly more and more wiggly. And so the top, you could just like flip around a whole bunch. But in
Okay,
general,
good.
I don't think the whole antennae will move around a lot. I do think that if you had a stress ball or maybe a baseball, you could wedge it between the antennae pretty successfully, and they could walk around with a ball on their head all day long.
Would they notice?
I don't know that they would notice, you know? I think that their antennae are probably not very sensitive, again, except for those wiggly, jiggly tips. And were the graphics good enough, I think that we would see that they become a little bit translucent at the top.
Ooh.
That's all I have to say about that.
Excellent job.
All right.
Thank you.
Time for Squarely Against, guys.
Heyo, I am squarely against. I was squarely for this. I liked Virmire.
Virmire.
Vegeta. I liked Planet Vegeta. It was a good level. Best one in the game so far. Vanessa, what are you squarely against?
I am roundly for killing off a member of your squad. It's a unusual and emotional thing to do. I think they did it well in the storytelling. And it kind of gives some depth to Shepard as being someone who can't always save everybody, no matter what you do. And that's kind of what life is like. But we all just do our best anyway and save as many people as we can, don't we?
So Vanessa is pro death of a loved one.
Mm-hmm. Especially Ashley. She was a racist. Jim, what are you squarely against?
I am squarely against the lack of interesting boss fights in this game.
Oh.
Most of the boss fights are just more annoying regular enemy fights.
But what about when you had to shoot tentacles at on a wall?
That wasn't a boss fight.
Don't you think that boss fights are kind of not realistic, though? You know? It's like, no matter who you're shooting, it's basically going to be the same, whether they're a boss of some organization or not. So I think
That's
the lack
true.
of boss fights kind of reflects that.
Yeah, but the game kind of yeah.
We're still
I don't
living
know.
a fantasy.
Yeah, maybe my expectations are just askew.
But you're not playing. This game isn't realistic at all. It's like
Who
you're
says?
playing a fantasy where you run around and shoot at stuff. So yeah, at the
You're
end,
playing a fantasy.
you would want to have like a final obstacle to overcome, just kind of to climax the gameplay. But in this, you just kind of get to shoot Saren once, and then it's like, cool. John, what are you squarely
Good point.
against?
I am roundly for the little critters that wander around the planet. They are cute.
Nice.
In Virmire, they're like little walking mushroom guys, and I thought they were adorable.
Yes.
I accidentally run them over a few times.
Yes, they poof. They poof out like a mushroom that has been poofed.
Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yep, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. Next episode, we will be playing through the Race Against Time mission, and am I pronouncing this correctly? Ilos or Ilos?
Ilos.
Ilos. We're gonna say Ilos.
I don't know if that's actually true.
Through Race Against Time and Ilos.
Yeah, and that will be our last ep, y'all.
Oh,
No,
really?
there's still one more after that.
What? What are you talking about? Which one?
There are 6 episodes in our Mass Effect series. We'll be playing through Race Against Time and Ilos, and then the episode after that will be us playing through the end of the game. So the Citadel.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think is that enough content, Vanessa?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, we can sort of do some talk about species and whatnot as well in there.
Yeah, we set it
right.
up this way intentionally early on.
Yeah,
I
Species
forgot.
2 is not as good as Species 1, but Species 1 is still not a good movie.
No, they're just really bad alien knockoffs.
Mm-hmm.
With
Yeah.
sex. Ugh. I don't know what's grosser, aliens or sex, right,
But
guys?
that Rebecca Romaine, am I right, guys?
Wasn't it Natasha something else in the first one?
Yes.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't remember her name anymore. God, I thought she was wonderful for 10 minutes back when I was 16, though. All right, guys.
All right, everyone. As always, before we sign off, we're going to remind everyone that if you like to reach us, we can be reached at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. You can come see us on our Facebook. I guess it's a Facebook group.
Yes.
The Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod. Our theme song for this series is by Sophie Marlin. Check out her violin covers of tons of game themes on YouTube at Sophie Marlin. That is spelled Marlon.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot your review and post in the Facebook group or Twitter, I'll tell you how you leveled up. Or you could just, we'll keep an eye out for new reviews. I think there might be a couple more coming next week.
Mm-hmm. All right, everyone. That is it for this episode of Square Roots. I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa with your drive time at 5.
Bye.
Bye. Far looks really beautiful. Like, I know that there's some issues with giant booby ladies because of
What's the game?
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Thank you.
I talked about it before.
Yeah, but Matt wasn't paying attention until you said booby.
Ah,
You guys didn't
okay.
even notice that I was gone?
There are 2 Matthews
No.
on my screen now.
I was gone for like 5
Oh.
minutes. You guys are
Okay.
mean. And I don't like you
Sorry.
anymore.
I guess it was unusual that Matt wasn't interrupting everyone's level up. rogues gallery. Maybe
What are you
Harvey
doing?
Dent will be okay?
What are you doing? No, go back to your room. Guys, you can go on. Just ignore me.
I thought he was talking to me.
What are you doing, Vanessa?
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm doing a podcast, but I'll go back to bed if you guys want me to.
No.
Okay, there's a charger in there.
You gotta stay up or else it'll screw up your sleep schedule for work tomorrow.
It's true.
We all have to stay up so we don't screw up our sleep schedule for work tomorrow.
Oh, man. Who decided we should be grown-ups?
You did, Vanessa.
All right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Texted us.
Yeah.
She's like, we be grown-ups now.
She said I have to get a 401k. Do I have to get a 401k?
Yes, you have to get a 401k. Plan now or regret later.
But which one do I want? Do I want the 4, the 1, the K?
All of them together in that specific order.
My employer does donate or not investment matching with my RRSP, which is like a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I put in, my company puts in the same amount, up to 4% of my income.
Mm-hmm.
So I am losing money if I don't use that,
Yes.
and it's going to a savings account. So even if I don't use it for my retirement, I could say like take it out and use it for a house thingy,
Yeah.
down payment.
And at your
I should have
age,
one
I
of
would
those.
put the maximum you can to get that matching money.
I get
I am.
6% matching.
What?
6%.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty good. Wow, this is a grown-up podcast. This is the most grown-up we've ever been.
We're going to start talking about actual square roots here in a minute.
Oh, boy.